Hello again, Risk Community. Welcome back to another video tutorial to help you get started and make the best of ServiceNow. My name is Eric Ferron in Santa Clara, California, and today my guest is Jagan Rao, who recently joined our product success team and who is a long-time specialist of GRC and IRM. Good afternoon, Jagan, and welcome to the show.
Good afternoon, Eric. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here.
Jagan, today, I believe you are going to share with us some of the key observations you have made over many years of practice of GRC that led you to understand why some GRC implementations are more successful than others.
Yes, I'll share some insights and recommendations on how to be successful with GRC, mostly on how to get ready very early. I have observed that business that are successful with their GRC implementation, those that get great value very quickly, do a number of things right. It is important that our customers learn from these observations. So we will be reviewing these successful choices. I'll also share a scorecard that will help the audience evaluate how they are doing on their journey to GRC success.
So let me get us started with our usual refreshers. Our tutorial series is primarily designed to help people get started with their GRC applications and get value quickly. We will in the future have more tutorials for the more advanced levels. We have already shared with you a number of valuable guides. We started with how to get ready for implementation and how to implement GRC. We also took a few deep dives, respectively, for policy, compliance, and risk on one side and VRM on the other side. And there are 2 slides at the end of this presentation with links to all of the tutorials available to you today. And recently, we also shared with you the very popular GRC implementation checklist. Today's episode takes us all the way to the very beginning of your GRC deployment journey. It will help you evaluate the path that you're on and provide guidance about the right choices to make. All right, Jagan, I think the floor is yours. Please take it away.
Today, we are going to talk about some of the keys for successful GRC program. Some of the common challenges that we see today in GRC program are lack of good business requirements, good understanding and agreement on implementation strategy, scope management. To mitigate these challenges or risks, I would say, some of the opportunities that we have in our hand are good project management, good decision making, and having a good leadership for running the program. Based on our learning from successful GRC program and customers, we have seen 5 important keys for GRC success: program strategy, program design, data governance, resources, and crawl, walk, run, the phased approach. We will go through each one of these items in detail. How can we ensure that our GRC initiatives is cross-functional and does not end up delivering something that is function-specific, serves a particular agenda, and not necessarily scalable? To achieve this, a good strategy is very important. Program vision consists of business goals. Some of the good business goals will be provide collaboration across different teams, provide visibility to management and key stakeholders, improve efficiency and reporting, understand project success factors. It's very important to document and understand these business goals. Adhering to industry standards. Some of the very good practices and good implementation are successful based on adhering to industry standards. Improving automation as much as possible, which reduces the cost and increases the efficiency of the GRC program. Documenting these 3 things as part of program vision is very important. Program goals. Some of the common successful program goals that we have seen is like reducing the cost by 30% of operating cost of a GRC program. Single system of record. Reduce operational costs significantly by moving into single platform and automation. Some of the good program needs that we had seen is like respond to a specific regulatory finding, complying with PCI DSS, specific data privacy policies, single system for all types of compliance issues, single system for handling all types of issues across the organization. All vendors needs to use one process and one system for vendor evaluation and onboarding. Some of the examples of good and not so good program strategy are listed below. Some of the good options would be provide visibility to key stakeholders, define business outcomes with precision, Improve reporting efficiency. It could be regulatory reporting or internal reporting as such. Build shared GRC libraries and federated taxonomy across different business units. Aim to reduce operational costs. Comply with SOC compliance and regulation. Build a single source for issue management of compliance, risk, audits, and business self-identified issues. Use of critical controls from NIST framework. Implement COSO framework for financial reporting, or implement COBIT for control standardization. Some of the challenging choices that customers made that we have seen led to some of the not so successful GRC implementation are replicate my December audit committee report as such in the system. Implement two different systems. One is for compliance group, one is for risk departments. We will not be able to judge and evaluate and make some good decisions from having two different systems. Upload process from last 2 years of external audit finding. Where is the data rationalization? Complete and collect all the risk categories from enterprise risk managers, vendor risk managers, audit managers, and just upload in the system. There is no data rationalization. One important observation is good data leads to good outcomes and good reports and good decisions. Set up a system to upload risk categories from all individuals. Again, data rationalization. Implement GRC for all departments at once without prioritization. These are some of the challenging choices which led to failure of GRC program and implementation. Once we agree and document on program strategy, next step is to talk about program design. GRC program design can always be used as an opportunity for process reengineering, change management, as it is impacting people, process, and technology. Some of the important design principles are framework and models. Some examples of good framework and models will be standardizing framework of risk assessment, standard policy exception management, attestations of controls, vendor tiering, risk scoring. GRC always involves big change management. It is not easy to change from Excel sheet, SharePoints, and email to an automated system. To cope up with the change management, some good principles that is used by many customers are appoint change management board, document change management process, appoint GRC council with good executive sponsorship and champions, have a robust communication plan. Next good program design principle is technology and architecture. Based on data privacy requirement and other compliance issues, there is always dependency on technology. Some of the good principles of good program design here is identifying any integration requirement, branding requirement, security and access management requirement, clearly defined non-functional requirements like what type of browsers are required, what should be the restriction on PII data access management, what should be the capacity of the bandwidth, some of the hardware, so on and so forth. Last but not the least is reducing silos. Avoid multiple approvals. Avoid duplication of data, measure different KRAs for same process for different geographies. These are some of the examples of silos where it can be reduced using GRC program. GRC is always around people, process, and technology, so it impacts all the departments and the processes. It is important to document all impacted departments, processes, groups, etc. Data plays a very important role. Core principles of GRC data governance depends on process analysis. It can reduce duplication of effort, provide greater transparency, give efficiency for audits, which can use SOX risk and frontline risk assessment and control testing that is done, reduce duplicate processes. That's why process analysis is very critical. Next one is common taxonomy. Common taxonomy for better reporting and measuring compliance risk consistently. Standard library of processes, risks, controls, questionnaires, regulations, assets, vendors, requirements, risk assessment framework for risk rating, standard list of root causes, issue priorities, so on and so forth. Next one is identifying external and internal data sources. Some of the data sources could be authority sources. It could be some of the standard framework like UCF, LexisNexis, DNB. It can be from NIST or any other data feeds or industry standards or homegrown standard data feeds. Next one is data management strategy. Understanding what is the security principle, what's the privacy requirement? What should be the data archival or purging requirement or data retention? Next one is having a good GRC governance committee. Plans to meet on a monthly or a quarterly or a semi-annual basis, which can help in improvising the data and data quality, which can make necessary changes and make decisions much faster about the data. A successful implementation always depends on right resources, identifying teams, documenting roles and responsibility with the timeline commitments to align with best practices, customers' roles that are needed for the good project management. Percentage of allocation may vary based on specific project priorities, timelines, and complexities. Some of the resourcing needs could be from business for identifying champions, stakeholders, SMEs, business project managers, process control owners, etc. From IT for ITIS resource requirement or IT project managers. From operations to manage data in the system, product owners and champions who play critical roles. Next set of resource is gathering documents. Some of the examples of good resources from the documentation point of view is business requirements, key use cases, current state and future state documents, management and operational reporting requirement, workflows, legacy data models, sample reports that is expected from the system, some sample of data with their taxonomy. The next one from resourcing point of view is very critical is identifying a good implementation partner who has experience in implementing GRC software. Identifying training and resourcing needs is very critical. Any program is successful only when it gets adopted and successfully rolled out. That's why training and identifying those training needs becomes very critical for a successful GRC program implementation. Here is an example of key use case which talks about compliance with security standards. Let's go through this. The compliance area that we are trying to talk about and document here is ISO 27001, 27002, which impacts functions like environment and health and safety, which impacts processes, which also impacts risks, which has controls in place. Same thing is applicable in health and safety. If you look at this document, it will give a clear picture of which processes have gaps of not having risk structures in place, which do not have controls in place, which also talks about testing plans and self-assessment frequencies, if you will. This is a simple document which can give you a lot of insight and areas of improvement where a GRC program can be successful, where there is gaps in data or processes or people, so on and so forth. The last and important key is around implementation strategy. How can we gradually and sequentially deploy the GRC technology landscape in conjunction with an evolution? Some of the good principles for identifying a phased GRC implementation is trying to identify maturity of departments, urgency of regulatory needs. Is there an internal management decision that is done? Is there an agreed roadmap? Should we implement SOX and audits together? Is there a compliance commitment that is done for a board or a regulatory need? These are some of the approaches that is used by many customers to identify which department should be implementing GRC first, which group has to start with this journey. Let's break old habits of implementing one system for across all the department at once. Here is a GRC readiness scorecard. This is a starting list of objective items where customers or partners can score their readiness of their GRC program implementation.
So this is super helpful, Jagan, right? This is actually a guide that our listeners can download at the link, which is in the bottom left corner. And this link will be available in the PDF version of the slides, right? So they can download it, make a copy, and then augment it and use this as a template to self-score where they are on that path, right?
Yeah. Here is the ServiceNow GRC journey, how we have gone through based on what we discussed so far. You can see here, we did a phased approach, started small, started with SOX in 2016, then went to internal audit department, then moved on to enterprise policy management. In 2017, we spoke about audit request management. implemented privacy shields, corporate security, so on and so forth. In 2019, we went to privacy, GDPR, CCPA, ISO, and SOC kind of a privacy requirement. We also use continuous control monitoring as part of our larger initiative. The journey is continuing as we discuss, and the success is seen within ServiceNow so far.
All right, thank you for this, Jagan. Thank you for bringing all of your years of experience to this tutorial. Thank you for the mixture of high-level principles and guidance and the scorecard. As we are approaching the end of this tutorial, what would be your guidance to our audience over what they should do right now, right this instant?
The immediate step that I would suggest is, irrespective of your stage of GRC journey or implementation, download the scorecard, which is available in the link. Conduct a self-assessment. You can add or update the topics based on your requirement, but we have a standard list. And also use our tutorials effectively for other learnings for GRC and GRC related topics.
All right, thank you very much, Jagan, for all of this. We're now at the end of the tutorial. As promised at the beginning, here is one of the slides containing the links to all the tutorials available to you for policy compliance and risk. The next slide is the same for vendor risk management. Now, over time, the number of tutorials is going to grow, of course, and to stay aware of the new tutorials coming up, please make sure that you join and subscribe to the appropriate forums on the ServiceNow community in the GRC space. Before we close, some very quick housekeeping announcements. The slides will be available in PDF format in the GRC forum. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to post them also in the GRC forum, and make sure that you subscribe to the forum to know what's going on. So thank you again, Jagan, for your time and your expertise and willing to share all of these great tips with our audience. Thank you all for listening, and until next time, goodbye.